Hey Ron, how you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yep, good to see you.
Let me turn up my volume. Okay. Can you hear me
All
pretty good?
good.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I see a few names and faces. I see Sally's with us, and let's see if we got any other board members that are joined just yet. I think it's just us three at the moment. We'll let everybody uh come on in, and then I was actually reading over um all of the procedures and updates that we've gotten. I know it's been busy, and I think you had an extra call that I wasn't on. Ron, I don't know if you want to maybe just kind of, I don't know if there's anything that I needed to know before we kick it off. I was thinking you might lead it as the chair for this based on, but I was rereading to make sure what I understood from John Miller, or yeah, sorry, from the legal side. So what's
Right.
the, hmm,
You gonna start it off and I'm gonna do the second one.
okay, perfect.
Since that's
And
on the agenda.
John Russell, sorry, I got my names crossed there. Yep, the legal counsel, John Russell, may be joining us as well. We'll give it a couple minutes. We're almost to 6 o'clock. Okay, so Diane is with us now, and Sally, and Ronald, and myself. So we are recording the meeting, and we're Judy Billings usually joins us. I don't think I saw an update from her about her attendance, so we're expecting her, I believe. And then now we have a new member that I have not met yet, named Nina McDowell. May also be joining us this evening. We're gonna
Philip,
try.
Philip, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Judy will not be in attendance tonight.
Okay. Are
So
we able to proceed as intended based on my? Okay.
yes, we can.
Okay, great.
Can y'all hear
And
me?
do you? Hi, yeah. Hi, Nina.
I can't hear.
We can hear you. But you might not be able to hear us. We'll work on that sound and make sure she can hear us to join or to participate. All right, so we're going to get started here in a moment. Nina, can you hear us now? Okay, she's going to work on her sound. We'll get that all straightened out. So we do have everyone that's planning to attend with us. We're just working on a connection technology troubleshooting moment. We'll get right into this, reviewing a few notes of procedure while we're waiting. Olga, is there anything that you would like to add here before we get started? I know we had a flurry of emails, and I did my best to stay on top of all the updates. Talking to Ronald, I think he had spoken to you or John Russell previously. So is there anything that I need to be sure to do as we get started? I want to make sure we follow procedures and honor everyone's time, and I don't have to redo anything. So any verbal updates before we kick this off to make sure I do it right?
Yeah, so I think we agreed on that you will start the hearing with the first item on the agenda, and then you will turn it over to Ron. And Mr. Russell, John Russell, he will help with the hearing as well.
Okay, fantastic. Okay.
Hey, Philip, it's good to see you. For some reason, I had my volume turned off, so I didn't realize I wasn't hearing anything. If you have questions or need me to do anything, let me know. Otherwise, as Olga said, when you're ready, go ahead and, begin with the agenda, call us to order and get the agenda set and approval, and you kind of kick off the variance. And because it's quasi judicial, we need to do some things as far as setting some ground rules, making sure we have an impartial board. So I'm happy to help as needed with that. And you just let me know what I can do.
Thank you very much. Okay. So we're good to go. I'm glad to have you. All right. So I do have a script that we're going to work on following. So this board has been seeking to establish all of the procedures to make sure that everything we're doing is meeting all of the standards and expectations. The town of Stanley is getting very busy with requests like this. So just the frequency, the opportunities for us to notice anything that needs improvement. It is obviously, we're going to be busier than maybe things were in the past 10 years or so. So we're just making sure we're doing all of this exactly right to the standards of local government. So kicking things off, we are recording this meeting live, and so I'm going to hop into a script to kick us off now. So the meeting will now come to order. Welcome to this meeting of our, actually, I do want to make sure we're going straight into the Board of Adjustments, correct, John?
That's right, Phil. Yep.
Okay. Sometimes we do a prior meeting for the planning board, just making sure I state that right. So we're going into the Board of Adjustments on May the 17th, 2022. My name is Philip McGinnis, the chair of this board. And we can go around in a moment and introduce the other board members. We'll start now. If you would state your name, and I'll actually, well, with it being not in person, since we're on Zoom, some of these rules are better for going around in person. So I'll just go back over that list one more time. With us tonight, we have Diane Navy, Sally Davis, Ronald Eddington, and Nina McDowell, I'm sorry. And so I want to make sure I got all those names correct as I read them. I was correct on that. Judy Billings is not with us this evening, but she is normally part of this board. And so Olga is with us serving as staff today, and our attorney from the town, John Russell, will be advising the board on legal and procedural questions. We will follow the order printed on the agenda. You can find a copy of the agenda and a guide to the meeting procedures. It was emailed out. I believe it also may be available on the website. Is that right, John?
I believe
Do we
so.
publish our agenda? Okay. If you wish to speak as a witness today, we've had you sign up in advance. Okay. So moving on, we have set this agenda, and we will start with a variance request for parcel 133313, followed by the special use permit for parcel 221097. So at this point, do I need to have a vote on this agenda? John, just making sure I'm reading a script. Okay.
That'd be great. If you'll take a motion and vote to set the agenda and then approve the minutes from the last Board of Adjustment.
From November 16th. Okay, so setting the agenda, can I get a motion that we approve this agenda that I just listed with the variance request parcel 133313 and the special use permit parcel 221097? Motion to, okay. That was Sally Davis's voice there. Can I second that motion? Can someone second that motion?
I second it.
Okay, I heard Ronald first. And so we will vote to approve this agenda. And I will just, I'll go around the Zoom list here. So Diane.
I accept.
Okay, Ronald.
Yes.
And so with Nina joining the board officially, I don't think we have to do any business as far. Olga, is she voting currently? I'm sorry,
Yes.
This is the news. Voting.
Yes,
Okay, Nina.
yes, she was appointed, so she can vote.
Gotcha. Okay, Nina, do you approve this agenda?
Thank you. I'm having trouble with my computer. So,
Oh, that's okay. Could you hear me on my question there?
yes, I got
Okay.
you on my phone.
Great. Thank you. Okay, and you approve of the agenda, correct?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And then Sally Davis.
Approve.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And I approve as well. All right, and then now we're going to approve the meetings from, or we are going to vote on the approval of the meetings from November 16th, 2021. You should have a copy from an email from Olga previously. Anyone have any suggested changes to that, the minutes from November 16th? The last time the Planning Board of Adjustments meetings? Mhm.
I have some changes. In the first paragraph under approval of minutes, it would be Chairman McGinnis called instead of call. On page 2, the same thing, underlines Chairman McGinnis called. And I believe this is the Board of Adjustment, not adjustments. So that should be corrected on page 2 in 2 places. One at the end of the town manager sentence and one within the underlined section.
Okay.
Then the
thank you.
last sentence of the underlined section toward the bottom that says the board was in favor of appointing Mr. McGinnis as chairman instead of a chairman. And those are my suggestions.
Thank you, Sally. You know, people use that Grammarly software now, but I think you're still better than any software. You always catch things, and thank you for doing that. So anybody else have any suggested changes for the minutes from the November 16th meeting? Okay, so it sounds like we are ready to, can I get a motion to approve these meeting minutes with the changes presented by Sally Davis?
I approve this.
That we approve these.
Thank you. You are getting, I think, Nina, you're getting an echo. You may have the sound on your device as well. I'm not sure. I heard when you spoke, it seemed like it was giving you some feedback into the meeting. So one of your devices might need to be muted. So I heard you motion to approve. So we do have that motion. Can I get a second? Can I get a second to, thank you, Diane. All right, so we're going to vote to approve the meeting minutes and get into business. Okay, so starting with Diane Navy,
I approve.
Ronald Eddington,
I approve.
Sally Davis,
I approve.
Nina McDaniel, McDowell.
I approve.
Thank you. I'm going to get your name right on the third time. I figured that out now, McDowell. Okay, so we are ready to kick this off now. And I will be acting as the chairman for the first order of business here. And then for the second one, Ronald will step in because I do have a conflict of interest for that second agenda item. So starting off with the variance request for parcel 133313, I'm going to return on a window here to my script. And we now open the evidentiary hearing for the variance request parcel 133313. The applicant has requested the variance request. Property is located at Valley Street and 4th Street. A 4/5 vote of the board is required to grant a variance. This hearing is a quasi-judicial evidentiary hearing. That means it is like a court hearing. State law sets specific procedures and rules concerning how this board must make its decision. These rules are different from other types of land use decisions like rezoning cases. The board's discretion is limited. The board must base its decision upon competent, relevant, and substantial evidence in the record. Quasi-judicial decision is not a popularity contest. It is a decision constrained by the standards in the ordinance and based on the facts presented. If you will be speaking as a witness, please focus on the facts and standards, not personal preference or opinion. Participation is limited. This meeting is open to the public. Everyone is welcome to watch. Parties with standing have rights to participate fully. Parties may present evidence, call witnesses, and make legal arguments. Parties are limited to the applicant, the local government, and individuals who can show they will suffer special damages. Other individuals may serve as witnesses when called by the board. General witness testimony is limited to facts, not opinions. For certain topics, this board needs to hear opinion testimony from expert witnesses. These topics include projections about impacts on property values and projections about impacts of increased traffic. Individuals providing expert opinion must be qualified as experts and provide the factual evidence upon which they base their expert opinion. Witnesses must swear or affirm their testimony. At this time, we will administer the oath for all individuals who intend to provide witness testimony. Okay, so John, quick question here. Do I do this per agenda item?
Yes, we're going to swear because of the unusual nature. We got two different hearings with different standards, different voting, and so the conflict issue. We're going to handle these totally separately. So we are just going to swear in the witnesses for the variance hearing at 4th Street and Valley Street.
Okay, so at this time, I do believe that would be Greg Dimmer is with us, and I don't have a list of all witnesses that would have signed up in advance, I don't think. Olga or anyone, do I have that with me?
We do not have anyone else sign up to speak, so we
Okay.
only have Greg Dimmer.
Okay, Greg, if you're with me, this is Philip. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're gonna do this quick oath and then get into this part of the process. Do you
Okay.
solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm reading this script, John, into disclosure.
So the next thing, Philip, we're going to do is make sure we have an impartial board as determined by law. And I don't mind helping with this part, so you can just
Please take it away. I'll
So-
get a drink while you do that. Go ahead.
Okay, that'd be great. So for this, I'm going to ask 3 questions, and I need anybody, if any of these apply, to speak up. The first one is, does anybody have a financial interest in the property that's at stake in the variance or the outcome of this decision? If so, please raise your hand or speak up by saying aye. Second question is, does anybody have a close personal relationship or a family relationship with either the applicant or any affected person in this variance hearing? If so, answer up or raise your hand. Third question is, does anybody have a fixed opinion that's not subject to change by the evidence you're about to hear, such as a prior site visit, talking to an applicant or a party, knowledge of the history of the property? If so, please raise your hand or speak up. All right, Philip, we have an impartial board. There's no one that has any conflicts for this particular situation, so you may proceed with the motion to go into evidentiary hearing and then taking of testimony.
Thank you very much. When I'm referring to this document that Olga has shared a script,
I don't think there is a motion on that script, so you can just say if there is a motion to open the public hearing.
the testimony from the witness. Okay. Can we get, is there a motion from the board to open the meeting to testimony?
I make that motion.
Thank you. Second, anyone?
I will second it.
Okay, and then we need to go through a vote, correct? Mr.
Correct.
Russell, John?
Yes.
Okay.
Needs-
All right, so let's do this the Zoom way through the list here. So Ronald Eddington, how do you vote on approval of this motion to begin witness or testimony?
I approve.
Okay, Sally,
Approve.
Diane,
Approve.
Nina.
Approve.
Okay, I approve as well. So we will move into that. At this time, unless a legal mind stops me, I believe we're ready to hear from Greg Dimmer regarding the variance request for partial 133313.
Start.
I think we're good to go.
All right.
Correct. Yes.
All right. So I'm asking for, instead of the R12 zoning, which is 15-foot side setbacks, to change it to 10-foot side setbacks, which I believe is R8, which most of the surrounding area is. The other setbacks are fine. I just need that extra 5 feet on each side because I have a particular plan that has a double car garage. That's a popular plan that if I don't have the 10-foot side setbacks, it won't fit in that parameter. And I've already sold 2 of that plan, and like to request that I can get 10-foot side setbacks instead of 15.
Thank you. Okay, so at
Everything
this
else,
time,
and I should just say everything else besides that is in the R12 zoning requirements. That's, as far as the lot size, front, rear setbacks and all that, still the same.
okay. Thank you. And just as a reminder, as we get into this part of the process, what they're asking us to do very well during these meetings is to make sure that we adhere to this quasi-judicial process. So our questions need to be based upon competent, relevant, and substantial evidence in the record. And so anything that we have printed, anything that is introduced into the record by witness testimony here, we need to stick to that versus anything that falls outside of that category or those categories of evidence as presented. And so it's different as compared to the planning discussions. So that procedural difference is what they're really emphasizing for us to zone in on and understand during this process. So anything that I need to do here, John?
So, Mr. Dimmer, you had submitted a site plan to Olga, is that correct? That sort of helps illustrate your testimony and show what you're trying to do, what you're asking for, is that right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, and I assume you'd like to have that has been shared with the planning board, the site, or the Board of Adjustment that you introduced, and I would assume you're asking that be introduced into the record, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
The one lot, I believe it's if you have that plat in front of you, lot 3, since it's a corner lot, Town of Stanley zoning ordinance is a 25 side setback on that corner lot, which is fine. I just asked that on the left side. I believe it showed 5 feet. Just keep that. In that particular lot, I'll just have a plan that fits it as is.
So you're not asking to change the side setback on lot 3?
I don't, well,
Street side.
I believe if it's on that plan already as 25, or did he put 10? I was under the impression they left it 25, but if he did change it.
It shows 20 actually.
Oh, 20. So what he did then is
There
change
was
it
a
from
5
25 to 20. Then I would request that it'd be a 20-foot side setback on the corner lot, and then on that side.
Thank you for your help on that, John. As we take it to the next part of this process, we do have this in the record now. The site plan document that was submitted to the town. We all have a copy or should have that copy. And any questions from the board based on the evidence presented so far?
Would there be a, Mr. Dimmer, would there be a sidewalk on that side?
No, there's no sidewalk, sir.
Okay.
Okay, and so we have some time just to give everyone a moment to mull back over anything that was presented, any clarifications you would like while we have this testimony available and on the record. And if nothing else soon, I believe we'll move towards making a motion on a decision on this request.
So a couple things, Philip, I'm going to jump in before you do that. One thing is I'm going to explain the legal standard for granting a variance, so that we know so that the board knows what it has to find. This is a factual evidence-based hearing, and they need to find these 4 conditions. And then it may be appropriate, Philip, it'd be up to you if the applicant would like to address any of these things specifically. So in order to grant the variance, there needs to be a 4/5 vote to approve each of the following conditions. Number 1, that there are exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property because of its size, shape, or topography that are not applicable to other lands or structures in the same district. Number 2, that the variance will not confer on the applicant any special privileges that are denied to other residents in the district where the property is located. Number 3, that a literal interpretation of the provisions of the ordinance would deprive the applicant of rights commonly associated or enjoyed by other residents, and that the requested variance will be in harmony with the purpose and intent of the ordinance. And number 4, that the circumstances or request is not the result of actions of the applicant. So those are 4 conditions. It's sort of a mouthful. If you have questions, if the board has questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And if the applicant would like to address any of those specifics, it's typically, typically will have the opportunity to do that.
Oh, thank you very much. Saying it, then I saying it at this time. So thank you. Add based on some of that from John there. I don't hear anything currently. Any questions?
So Philip, before you vote then, you will need to get a motion to close the public hearing and vote on that, and then begin your discussion of the variance request.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, seems like we're all set. And so we would need a motion to close out this portion of the meeting of the testimony from witnesses. Would anyone like to put forward that motion?
I make a motion that we have closed the public hearing.
Thank you, Ronald. Can't from anyone?
I second it.
Okay, so now we'll move on to a vote to close the public hearing. Let's see. All right, we're going to vote now, starting with Ronald.
Yes.
Okay. Sally.
Approved.
I didn't hear it just yet.
Approved.
Oh no, I heard you, Sally. I was wondering about Diane.
Oh, I'm here. I approve.
Thank you. And then Nina.
I approve.
All righty. And I approve as well. So we're gonna wrap that part up. And then could you remind me that next step you said, John?
So the next step, Philip, is you just call for discussion about the variance request among the board. If there's any discussion, that this is the opportunity for the 5 of you to discuss. And then at the conclusion of that discussion, you will call for a vote to approve or deny the variance request.
Thank you. Okay, so now that we're in this part of the meeting, we're entering the discussion regarding this request. Anybody want to from the board? So based on some of the things I'm hearing about these rules, I understand the intent to make sure that request that is not a special treatment that falls outside of So the building in the based on the plan and the request of a 5 feet additional, 5 feet less on the setback makes this other building plan possible. That's what I understand. When I'm weighing this within the rules that John had listed there, I suppose the question that is in my mind, this request to us for this special or for this variance request, then it is technically this process is open and fair to any builder who wanted to request this. I don't believe we're giving it special treatment in that way, as long as so unless, I don't know if my logic holds up there, but that does seem to me that this is a public and fair and open process. This particular Anyone have an additional comment outside of that?
Philip, I don't know about the other board members. You sort of broke up during that, and I don't know if that was my computer or on your end. So you might want to.
No, I did.
I see some nodding. You might want to re-summarize so for the benefit of your fellow members, kind of your thoughts.
Okay. I apologize. That was very bad timing for the internet connection. I can switch to phone audio like Nina in a moment. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, that sounds good.
Okay. So my summary, just to go back over it, is that this is a public process that is open to. Therefore, based on the rules that were introduced during this discussion, things that were covered by John, that qualify, in my opinion, as equal treatment, and it's not preferential to any builder. That was my thought, is that we're doing things in a way that aligns with these requirements because this process is fair and I hope that came through a little more clearly this time. Any additional thoughts? Okay. If there's no additional discussion, and I believe we would just guide me one more time through this. Go ahead and make a motion.
So I think
Of the request.
yes, probably I think what we should do is just go down the findings, take a vote on each finding, and then you can make a motion to approve the variance. I think that's probably the best procedure to go through. So I will read the findings, take a vote, and sort of a reminder to the board that because this is a variance request, each finding needs to pass by a 4/5 vote. So finding 1, there are exceptional conditions pertaining to this piece of property, such as its size, shape, or topography, not applicable to other lands or structures in the same district.
And you want us to go ahead and vote on that finding?
Yeah, I think. And I guess.
And we would vote. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, if everybody that, I think we should go around and if everybody vote on whether or not that finding has been met by the applicant.
Okay, and any recommendations for how to phrase these votes? You
No,
just
I
say
think
in
you can-
favor or,
Yep, you can say yes or no as to the applicant met of showing for that finding.
okay. You know, and what I might do in the future, I wonder how we'll do these via Zoom or in person, but you know, having some text right there for us all might be helpful.
Sure.
Just to, as we go through this one by one. Okay, so and do you have these, are these in the documents
is-
that you sent out
This
to
is
us as
from
well?
our, this is from the zoning ordinance, so I'm under section 6.3,
Yes.
which applies to variance.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And just, if you'll read that one more
Sure,
time, since it's right in front of you while I pull it up, no,
be glad to do it. There are exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property in question because of its size, shape, or topography that are not applicable to other lands or structures in the same district.
okay. So we're going to vote on this based on John's statement, just to reiterate that has evidence been presented, is the case been made, that is the case for this particular request. And it requires a 4/5 vote. So requirements for that condition, and we'll go around starting with Ronald.
I'm in favor.
Okay. Sally?
Is that me?
Yes, Sally.
I approve. I agree.
Diane?
Agree.
Nina?
I agree.
I'm in favor.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And Philip, you will
Okay,
vote. as well.
I'm in.
You're-
Perfect. I'm in favor as well.
Okay. The second finding that needs to be met, granting the variance will not confer on the applicant any special privileges denied to other residents in the district in which the property is located.
Okay. We'll go vote on this one, starting with Diane.
I agree. Are you not hearing me?
I did.
Okay.
Yep. And then Ronald.
I'm in favor.
Sally.
I agree.
Nina.
I'm in favor.
Okay. Same for me. I agree.
Okay. Third finding, a literal interpretation of the provisions of the ordinance would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other residents in the district, and the requested variance will be in harmony with the purpose and intent of the ordinance.
Okay. Diane, how do you vote?
I agree.
I didn't hear that one. You didn't hear me. Ronald, how do you vote?
I'm in favor.
Thank you. Sally.
Agreed.
Nina.
I'm in favor.
Okay. And I'm in favor as.
And then the final finding that needs to be met, the special circumstances are not the result of the actions of the applicant.
All right. Diane, how do you vote?
Can I ask a question?
At this part of the process, I'm not sure if we can.
Okay. I agree.
That me, I agree.
Okay. All right. I believe that my audio did not come through for Ronald's vote or Nina's vote. Give me one moment. I'm going to call through on a phone. I'll be back in 5 seconds. We're almost to the next order of business. I'm going to try this one more time. So back to Ronald's vote.
I'm in favor.
Thank you. And Nina,
I'm in favor.
thank you very much. I think we got through it, and then I'll join for the rest of the meeting by phone. So we've voted on the 4 items that were read out to us by the legal counsel, and now we're on to do we have an overall vote at this point, John?
Correct. Yep. Having passed all 4 findings by a vote of 5-0, you can ask for a motion to approve the variance, approve with conditions, or deny the variance.
Okay, thank you very much. So can we get a motion approve conditions or denial of the variance request?
I'll make a motion that we approve the variance request.
I'll second it.
Very much. Okay. So we're going to move into the vote to approve the variance request, starting with how do you vote for Nina?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Forward. Sorry. Yes, Nina, how do you vote?
Oh, I'm in favor.
Thank you. Ronald,
I'm in favor.
Sally,
I approve.
Diane,
I approve.
okay. Thank you very much. I approve it as well.
Thank you.
Is
there,
John, Philip, if you want to close, there is like a small script. If not, we can just sort of wrap that up. I know you're having some audio trouble.
I am. Yeah, if I can skip the
Yep, we can
close, or
do
you
that.
can read
Just-
it for me.
yeah,
I think it's the
basically
safer
what-
route.
Yep, for Mr. Dimmer, just the staff, of course, will draft a short order that indicates the Board of Adjustment approved the variance request. That'll be put in the file, and you'll have that to move forward. So appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
And,
I have a question. Is this the final part, or do I still have to go to council? I can't. And what-
You do not need to go to council on the
Okay.
variance. The Board of
Okay.
Adjustment is the final determination on the variance. There, of course, will be construction plans and drawings and other parts of the permitting
Right.
process that you haven't gotten to yet.
Okay. Thank you, board. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hand it off to we're going to go through a process. We need to go back through those rules. Is that correct, John, to
I
speak
think-
on? Yeah.
Yes, so this is going to be a little bit different. So I'll kind of start with the introduction, and there's a different voting threshold. This is a special use permit request. And the basis for the request is the zoning ordinance requires a special use permit when an applicant seeks to use the property for purposes of a school. That is why we're here. We'll go through and make sure we have an impartial board. And then we'll start the evidentiary process. There are different findings that have to be met, and I will read those also from our zoning ordinance when we get to the end of the evidentiary hearing and give the applicant the opportunity to address those findings if they'd like to do that. The vote for a special use permit is a simple majority. So it's not a 4/5 supermajority, in this case, a simple majority vote. So we'll start with the questions on the impartiality. The first question for the board is whether anybody on the board constituted at this point has a financial interest in the property or the outcome of this hearing. If so, please raise your hand or say aye or somehow signal. Second,
That could count. Yes, I could be in either one.
okay.
So
Thank you, Philip.
yeah, you could qualify it as a consultant at times for the school. So that one, and it's also a family connection that I have to the project. So whichever one would apply.
The second box, which we're about to ask. Well, let's wrap through for all of these and then we'll address your situation. So the second one is, does anybody have a close relationship or a family relationship with either the applicant or an affected party?
Yes.
And I think, Philip, you've answered yes to that. And the third one is but that, if anybody else does, please speak up or raise your hand. Answered no. And then the third one is, does anybody have a fixed opinion that's not subject to being changed by evidence or testimony, which you're about to hear as a result of site visits, talking to affected parties or the applicant, or other information about the property? If so, please speak up or raise your hand. So under our rules then, Philip, you would be recused. We have 4 remaining members. That is a quorum, so we can proceed. The vote to approve each of the factors, findings, which I'll read to you, and to approve the special use permit will need to be 3-1 to approve. So, and Ronald, Mr. Eddington has agreed to step in and serve as chair of the panel. So Ronald, will turn this over to you to take the motion to go into evidentiary hearing and begin the process.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
I'll
I
make
make
a
a
motion.
motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
All right. And we need to take it to a vote.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we started with Diane,
I approve.
Sally,
I approve.
Nina,
I approve.
and I approve also. Okay. So we now open the evidentiary hearing for, this is the special use permit, parcel number 221097. The applicant has requested a special use permit. The property is located at Mariposa Road and North Main Street, NC 27. Now, John, you said we don't need a 4/5 to vote on this one, do we?
You do not. Special use permit under the state law is simple majority. So
Okay.
you would need a 3-1 vote. 2-2 on any finding is not a majority. So the vote would need to be 3-1.
Okay, so this decision was made by a simple majority vote of the board. This hearing is a quasi judicial evidentiary hearing. That means, like a court hearing, state law sets specific procedure and rules concerning how this board must take its decision. These rules are different from other types of land use decisions like rezoning cases. The board discretion is limited. The board must base a decision upon competent, relevant, and substantial evidence in the record. A quasi-judicial decision is not a popular contest. It is a decision constrained by the standards in the ordinance and based on the facts presented. If you will be speaking as a witness, please focus on the facts and standards, not personal preference or opinions. Participation is limited. This meeting is open to the public. Everyone is welcome to watch. Parties with standings have rights to participate fully. Parties may present evidence, call witness, and make legal arguments. Parties are limited to the applicant, the local government, and individual who can show they will suffer special damages. Other individuals may serve as witness when called by the board. General witness testimony is limited to facts, not opinions. For certain topics, this board needs to hear the opinion testimony from expert witnesses. These topics include projections about impact on property value and projection about impact on increased traffic. Individual providing an expert opinion must be qualified as expert and provide the factual evidence upon which to base their expert opinion. Witness must swear or affirm their testimony. So I'm gonna stop right there. That do I need to we need to swear in Mr. Biker at this time?
Typically, Mr. Biker, I think, is the lawyer, so unless he's testifying, you don't need to swear him in, but you can ask him to introduce his witnesses, and you can swear in any witnesses or check with Olga if there will be a staff presentation. We'll need to swear Olga in as well.
Okay. So Mr. Biker, will you be calling any witnesses?
Patrick, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Yes, Chairman Eddington. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Yes, we do have a strong team of expert witnesses, and I would like to ask each of them to unmute. And then we do have the chairman of the board for Community Public Charter School, who will also testify after our three expert witnesses, and that is Chairman Eddie McGinnis. So just very briefly, our site engineer is Chad Abbott. Mr. Eddington, Mr. Chair, do you want to swear each of us in individually or just do it all together? I've seen boards do it each way, so defer to your decision, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Olga, Olga, what do you suggest on this one?
I think we can swear them in as a one, correct, Mr. Russell?
Yes.
Is that okay?
You can swear everybody in at one time.
Right.
Okay. So Olga, do you normally swear them in?
I can do that, yes.
Okay, if you don't mind for me, please.
Okay. Do you swear that the evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Please.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay.
So Ron, we have done the disclosure and the determination of an impartial board, and you can go down to applicant testimony, which is probably part 6 in your script.
Okay, so the applicant, Mr. Biker, will now present evidence and legal arguments in support of the request. As a reminder, any evidence and argument must focus upon the applicable standards. Before you begin, please state your name for the record, address, and relationship to this case.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Again, members of the board, my name is Patrick Biker. I'm with Morningstar Law Group. Our office address is 700 West Main Street in Durham. I am here tonight representing Hubrick Contracting and Community Public Charter School. It has been my privilege to represent Hubrick Contracting for at least a decade. And during that time frame, Hubrick has established a fine track record of building superb charter school facilities across North Carolina and South Carolina. And at the outset, Mr. Chairman, we would like all the exhibits that are referred to and relied upon by our witnesses to be admitted into evidence for the record. These include the expert witnesses' resumes that I sent to Olga, as well as a rendering of our site that will be used to illustrate our expert witnesses' testimony. Those would be the resumes for our site engineer, Chad Abbott, our traffic engineer, Lyle Overcash, Nick and Rich Kirkland, who have served as our real property experts, and again, that exhibit reflecting the site that we're talking about tonight. Mr. Russell, should I know I submitted those to Olga. Is there anything else that we need to do to have those admitted into the record?
No, Ronald, those have been distributed to the board. So if you want to double check that everybody has those, then you as the board chair can receive them into evidence.
Okay. So, Mr. Biker, you are referring to exhibits A through E. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I'm gonna ask the board members, have y'all received this right here? These exhibits?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay. Diane?
Yes, I have them.
Okay. Sally?
Yes, I have.
And I have them. So John, do I need to put this out here, a motion to accept this, or can I just go
You
ahead? and
don't
accept
need to do a motion. You can, as the chair, just simply note that they've been admitted into evidence.
it? Well, we're gonna note that it's been introduced into evidence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, Patrick Biker, attorney for the applicant. We are here tonight to represent Community Public Charter School, which aspires to relocate to a 36.8 acre parcel that has frontage on Mariposa Road and on North Main Street, North Carolina Highway 27. We are requesting that this board grant a special use permit for Community Public Charter School to build a new facility since it has outgrown its current location at 400 Ralph Hansel Boulevard. Throughout this presentation, our team will sometimes refer to Community Public Charter School as CPCS, just as an acronym. And CPCS is proposing to educate grades kindergarten through grade 8 at this location on Mariposa Road. At the outset, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I need to stress that at its April 4th, 2022 Town Council meeting, the Town Council unanimously voted to rezone all of the 36.8 acres we're discussing tonight to R20. I'd like to briefly talk about the requested site plan that we have submitted and the evidence that we will discuss with the board and provide through expert witness testimony. Section 6.4 of the zoning ordinance gives the Board of Adjustment final decision-making authority for all special uses as set forth in the use table and requires that 4 requirements be met. First, the development is located, designed, and proposed to be operated so as to maintain or promote the public health, safety, and general welfare. Second, the development complies with all conditions and specifications of the zoning ordinance. Third, the development will not substantially injure the value of adjoining or abutting properties. And fourth, the location and character of the use, in this case a school, if developed according to the plan submitted and approved by this board, will be in harmony with the area in which it is located and in general conformity with the plan of development for Stanley and its environs. These 4 findings will be addressed by our team of 4 witnesses, 3 of which we have submitted as experts to provide substantial, material, and competent expert witness testimony as is required by North Carolina General Statute 160D-1402J3. Our first witness will be Mr. Chad Abbott. He is the principal engineer with C3 Design and Engineering, PLLC. Mr. Abbott is a professional engineer licensed by the state of North Carolina. He will testify in regard to how the proposed school is located, designed, and proposed to be operated so as to maintain or promote the public health, safety, and general welfare, and that the proposed school complies with all the conditions and specifications of the zoning ordinance. He will also testify that the location and character of this school, if developed in accordance with the plan that's before the board tonight, will be in harmony with the area where it is located and in general conformity with the plan of development for Stanley and its environs. Our second witness is Mr. Lyle Overcash. He is the project's traffic engineer with Kimley Horn, and he will testify that the new Community Public Charter School is located, designed, and proposed to be operated so as to maintain or promote the public health, safety, and general welfare. Mr. Overcash is a professional engineer licensed by the state of North Carolina, and he specializes in school-related traffic issues. Our third witness will be Mr. Nick Kirkland. Mr. Kirkland is a duly licensed real estate appraiser in the state of North Carolina. He works with his family business, Kirkland and Associates. He will testify that the new school will not substantially injure the value of adjoining or abutting properties. And our last witness will be the chairman of the board of directors for CPCS, Mr. Eddie McGinnis. He will briefly testify to the plan for the new school. That if it is approved by this board, will be in harmony with the area where it is to be located. As you consider this evidence, please keep in mind the legal standards which govern this type of special use permit hearing. It is our burden as the applicant to provide competent, material, and substantial evidence showing that each of the 4 approval criteria have been met. Once this is done, state law dictates that the applicant is entitled to issuance of the special use permit. Under North Carolina law, special uses are uses that are as of right as long as the evidence shows the applicable criteria have been met. We feel confident that the competent, material, substantial evidence which will be presented this evening will establish clearly that the applicant has complied with all the requirements of the zoning ordinance, and we respectfully ask that the special use permit be approved. And now, Mr. Chairman, unless you have any questions for me, I would like to call our first witness, Mr. Chad Abbott.
Please.
Okay, Mr. Abbott.
Good evening, members of the board. Appreciate your time tonight. My name is Chad Abbott. I am the principal engineer and owner for C3 Design and Engineering, located at 2537 East Line Station Road in Creedmoor, North Carolina. I am a licensed P in the state of North Carolina, license number 036242. And I've been practicing civil site engineering for approximately 17 years. I believe my resume has probably been provided to you guys to substantiate my competency as an expert witness in these matters when it comes to land planning and design. Specifically to schools, I've been doing school design in charter schools specifically for approximately 10 years and have done several other developments with this same development team. With that, we do have certain findings that we are charged to make, as Mr. Biker pointed out. And the first being the fact of as located and as designed, that the school would not be injurious or adversely impact the public health, safety, and welfare of the general public. And a use such as this as a school, many, and you've obviously been provided the concept, many design criteria have been assessed to provide this layout. The number one, and Mr. Overcash will speak to this as well, but number one protects the general public traveling along adjacent roads by providing enough stacking on site so that there's safe traffic and circulation off site and on site. That we have provided a development with public utilities such that the public health is protected from the from conventional utility systems such as well and septic. We'll have public utilities which are more safer for the environment and for people. And just in general, as proposed, is a design that will provide walkability for the students in and around the site. So we have done our part to address the public health, safety, and welfare for the project through the environmental design, through the utility design, and through our traffic design. Regarding, there were several specific conditions related to a charter school for size of property and specific items. We have met all those, and I believe those are also noted on the application. In regards to the location that we've proposed the school being in harmony with the adjacent properties, you can see that there's a significant buffer and a large swath of utility easements surrounding the property. And so we have a large buffer by default from many of the adjacent properties. The school is proposed adjacent to existing industrial and commercial uses. And a school typically through land planning design is usually acceptable in all kinds of land planning scenarios, whether it be rural residential or even a little bit more dense residential, as maybe across the street with the townhomes, because of the hours of use of a school they have very little impact on the neighbors because typically when people in residential areas are coming home from work, the school traffic has long been gone and has little to no impact on adjacent properties. So the school has developed, if developed, as we've shown on the concept plan, would be completely in harmony with the surrounding property owners. Obviously, the industrial properties to the west of our property would not be impacted by our school operations. And then that the fact that testify to the fact that as designed that this school would fit the comprehensive plan that's been adopted for the town. Schools are allowed by right. They're allowed as a use by right in a residential zoning district as a special use permit, but they are a use that's been approved by the board in Stanley to be an acceptable use in residential districts, except that we go through this process. And by virtue of them rezoning the property to a residential district in recent months, further testifies to the fact that the board has found that it meets that rezoning this property to residential in its entirety and not keeping it split zone is a testament to the fact that they see that this property being zoned residential is in compliance with the comprehensive plan. And then therefore it lends itself to uses such as a school through this process. So that will conclude my testimony. I'll be happy to answer any questions that anybody might have.
Okay, I'm gonna ask my fellow board members, do y'all have any questions for Mr. Abbott?
I'm not sure if this is for Mr. Abbott or the upcoming people that's getting ready to speak. I do have a question about the traffic pattern.
Yeah.
How is that going to flow? Because we do have a school that's currently right now, Springfield Elementary, where we do have cars just parking there on the road. And then we have citizens going around them to try to get to their homes. And I know Mariposa, in those steep curves, you might have traffic coming up that way. So how is the load on that traffic pattern? Is all this, the people that's coming to pick up their kids, are they going to be down in that elevation, or are they going to be parked on the road? So that's my concern of safety.
Yeah, Ms. McDowell, our traffic engineer, Mr. Lyle Overcast, will have to address that issue. He's our very next witness, so I'm sure he'll keep that in mind, and he'll get right on it as soon as he can.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other board members? Sally or Diane? Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, if there are no other questions for Mr. Abbott, I will turn it over to our traffic engineer, Lyle Overcash with Kimley Horn.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Are we able to share the site plan? Should I just share my screen?
Either that or unless Olga, are you able to put it up on a screen, or do we need to do that? The site plan that we turned in a few days ago?
Yes, so Mr. Overcash, you should be able to share your screen. Mm-hmm.
All right, sounds good. So when it comes time to that, I'll share my screen here.
Yeah, screen sharing is above my pay grade. I just want that to be in there.
So good evening, everyone. Exhibit B lists my qualifications, which I'll review briefly. Again, my name is Lyle Overcash. Work with Kimley Horn, 421 Fayetteville Street in Raleigh, North Carolina, 27601. I have a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from NC State University with a transportation focus. I have 29 years of experience, and I'm a member of the Institute of Transportation Engineers. Been at Kimley Horn for about a year and a half. I'm a licensed professional engineer in North Carolina, Virginia, specializing in traffic issues. I have performed hundreds of traffic studies for public and private sector developments throughout North Carolina, including over 50 schools across the state. So my role in this team regarding the application, I've worked on the traffic and circulation issues for the proposed school at this location, and I personally oversaw the creation of the traffic impact analysis, or called TIA, for this school that was submitted to DOT on May 5th, 2022. So we just submitted that to NCDOT. Let's see if I can get my screen to work here. Okay, you guys able to see that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So now I'll testify in regard to zoning ordinance 6.4 that the new school is designed and proposed to be operated so as to maintain or promote the public health, safety, and general welfare. Concerning access and circulation, so we'll go over the site access points, try to orient everyone. We have NC 27 out this way. We got Mariposa. North is kind of off to the side a little bit. We have 3 access points to the school. That was kind of a critical element, and we looked at several different sites across town trying to find the kind of a good combination of where we get access on 2 roads. That's ideally what we can get to. We referred to access 1 here on 27 North Main Street. And I'll zoom in to let you see that one. So this one's going to be a full movement access point. It's about 700 feet north of Mariposa. It's going to be a full movement driveway for parents to exit after they've picked up or dropped off their students, and for buses to exit, and then for staff can enter and exit. So that's driveway 1 up on North Main Street. Let's see if I can pan over. Now the school will sit close to Mariposa Road, and we've, ideally you'd like to split up the parent pickup drop off into a one-way loop. So you don't have parents coming in and conflicting with parents coming out. That's what kind of one of the main rules you try to avoid is all the traffic coming and going out of one driveway. So fortunately we have 3 driveways. We're going to bring everyone in this driveway to the kind of far north, kind of east part of the parcel. So we have 2 lanes that come in. So we've got a double stacking lane that goes all the way around in the back of the school and then comes back out, and then we come into one single lane here in front of the school. Based on the NCD, we use a calculator, our NCDOT Municipal School Transportation Assistance Calculator, and it recommends about 2,800 feet of stacking. We're providing over 3,300 feet of stacking. So we feel good about the amount of stacking that we're providing on the site itself. So yes, so driveway number 2 is going to be inbound only. It's about, actually this is driveway 2. It's about 1,200 feet east of the Main Street. This one will be full movement. So we'll have inbound and outbound traffic coming out of driveway number 2. So parents would drop off their kids. They'll have the choice of taking a right and going straight out to 27, or they can come down to Mariposa and come down to the traffic signal as well. So we've kind of planned for parents to have the choice of going either way when they come off and drop off their students. Buses would all come in this driveway, and then here is the bus, kind of like the bus area here on this side of the school, and then they would exit out on 27. Also for parents and then visitors also would exit this driveway. Sorry about that. And then about 1,000 feet east, northeast, we have driveway number 3, and this is the inbound driveway that I described earlier. So those are our 3 driveways that come to the school. So in my professional opinion, this is the safest configuration we could achieve, given that we have, the 3 access points. Around the building, adequate space has been provided to allow for emergency vehicles. So between the drive aisle and the parking areas for vehicles and buses, there's a good bit of pavement surrounding the school on all sides. So as you can see here, we can really get to all portions of the school through the parking lot and through the access points here. And then also another positive of having 3 access points is that, if you had a situation where one of these access points was blocked during an emergency situation, emergency vehicles have the option of using other driveways to get to the school. So that's another good point. Regarding parking and loading, the proposed school will incorporate more than adequate teacher and visitors parking on the site. There's about 100 and a little over 140 parking spaces proposed for this school, and we had assumed about 100 staff members. So we feel good about the number of spaces that we're providing. As the design promotes overall efficiency of parking and loading on the site, maintaining safe ingress and egress for those who are parking at school. We've talked about the bus parking and exiting. They would all come in here and park on this end of the school and then exit out this way. And accordingly, this special use permit based on this plan would have no significant adverse effect on adjacent properties, as all the traffic associated with the new school will not adversely affect public health and safety. So we're trying to stack all the parents on site and not have them back out into the roadway. And during our scoping meeting with DOT, they pointed out that there had been a site plan residential development proposed on the kind of the south or east side of Mariposa. So we tried to line up we superimposed that site plan on ours and tried to line up the driveways as best we could. I don't think this project has gone forward, but we wanted to kind of try to coordinate, as best we could with what had been planned for that side over there. So we used that temporary plan. The idea is to try to line up driveways so there's not conflicts or you have a poorly offset driveways. So that's kind of what's shown underneath here is kind of a future plan. So we use that to help plan our driveways, which kind of pushed ours out to the edges. And like you had mentioned, there is a curve here so we're trying to get away from that curve. So we'll have, proper sight distance in and out of our driveways. No significant increase in noise or odor will be generated as a result of the traffic associated with the proposed development. So in conclusion, it's my professional opinion that the special use permit for the proposed new school is in harmony with the area and that it meets all the requirements applicable to the special use permit. It's also my professional opinion that the site has designed in an appropriate manner to safely accommodate automotive traffic, including emergency vehicles. In addition, the new school is designed and proposed to be operated so as to maintain and promote the public health, safety, and general welfare. Thank you. I'm available to answer any questions you guys might have.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Overcash. I'm going to ask the fellow board members, do they have any questions?
Yes, I do have a question. Have y'all took into consideration former student parking? Because is the charter school going up to ages up to the 12th grade, right?
It'll go up to grade 8, ma'am.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
Last time I checked, 8th graders aren't supposed to drive. But
No. I just okay. Thank you.
yeah, appreciate the question.
Any other board member got a question? Okay, well, Mr. Overcash, I do have a couple questions.
Okay.
You said stacking are you talking about on the red line right there?
That's correct.
Do you know about how many cars will be able to be in that?
We usually use about 22 feet per car. So if we had 3,300 feet of stacking, if you use say 20 feet, that's about 165 cars.
Okay, 165.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that y'all contacted the Department of Transportation on May the 5th.
That's the date we submitted the TIA. We had our scoping meeting with DOT back in April, I believe it was.
Okay. Everything was positive on that?
Actually, the scoping meeting, I'm sorry, was March 10th with DOT. Yeah, we had some back and forth with the local DOT folks, and then we also had municipal and school transportation assistance representation, Kim Hinton from that group. So they have the TIA now in house, and they'll review it and we'll work through the details. As we presented a couple different scenarios. I didn't go over that, and I probably should. We tried a couple different ways to handle the traffic and try to minimize the impacts at the traffic signal at Mariposa and 27. So initially we sent all the traffic out to the traffic signal, and then we tried to send all the traffic out to 27 directly at the unsignalized driveway. And then we kind of split the traffic and gave them an option. We also in the TIA ran a scenario of if the school itself staggered their times. So the best scenario results that was in the TIA was if the school, did a school with like a staggered bell schedule within the school, and then we allowed parents to exit out both to Mariposa and out to 27 directly. So there's a couple different scenarios in the TIA, and DOT will look through it and kind of make their recommendations on kind of which way we'll go with on the recommendations.
Okay. Now over there where the hand is at right now, on I think that's 27.
Yes.
Is there going to be? Are we going to have any problems of traffic flowing out there onto 27? Is it going to be like a traffic control device there or anything?
That was one thing MSTA had asked us to take a look at if we send all the traffic here and everyone and that was the other thing from the school, they were good to work with. They gave us kind of a view of where their students are coming from, and so we could use that for our distribution. And what it showed is that the majority of their students were going to come from the south, and so which is kind of bad for us to take a left. We had to take a left out. So when we send all the students up to this driveway and take a left, it does have a pretty good delay, and so that's why we wanted to maintain an option of folks going to the signal or coming up here. So that was the main thing, and we tried to minimize the turning traffic into this site because to try to have to minimize the impact at this location. So you wouldn't have those conflicts there. So that's why we brought everyone in, down here at the back end of the school. Okay.
And my last question I had, I think it was on Exhibit B. What is? I just want to know this right here for my personal reference. What is traffic calming?
Traffic calming, speed bumps or speed humps, or if you neck down a roadway with different to like shorten the distance that pedestrians have to cross, any narrowing of roads to slow traffic down. You're trying to slow traffic down through, mostly it's through a neighborhood, and we also use roundabouts, traffic circles, different we do use four-way stops, even though they're more of a traffic control device. But anything to traffic calm is to slow traffic down and try to maybe stop folks from cutting through. Just try to make it a little bit safer if you have a lot of pedestrians or kids playing in the streets, that type of thing.
Okay, so based on my question, do any of the board members might have any additional questions? Okay, not hearing anything, I'm gonna turn it back over to you, Mr. Biker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We appreciate all those questions. It was very helpful. Our last expert witness will be Mr. Nick Kirkland, who will address the issues relating to property values. Mr. Kirkland?
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Great. My name is Nick Kirkland with Kirkland Appraisals. The address is 9408 Northfield Court in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm a certified general real estate appraiser. I've been appraising for about 7 years now. I've been accepted as an expert in property value impacts and hearings just like this about 100 times. And I'm here to present the Kirkland Appraisals impact study that we've completed to address whether or not the proposed use will, number one, be in harmony in the area in which it is to be located, and number two, whether or not it will have any potential to impact the adjoining property values. So first, to discuss whether or not it will be in harmony in the area in which it's to be located, we have to talk about the use itself. School uses are very commonly adjoining residential uses, both in rural areas as well as in more suburban areas where it backs up to subdivisions. It's very common for schools to even be touted by the brokers for new subdivisions as being an amenity for being nearby or even across the street, such as what's proposed to the south of this site. It's not atypical for a school use to be not just near some houses, but in a primarily residential area. For the proposed site, although it does adjoin some industrial uses, that's more atypical or an industrial zone land. That's more atypical for what's typically around a school use. However, it's not something that would absorb a negative impact. In other words, typically industrial and commercial uses don't absorb negative impacts from adjoining uses. And so that's not something that we test for when trying to determine would there be an impact or would it be in harmony with such a use. Based on this, where schools are typically located, as well as having reviewed the site plan that was provided to me, it's my professional opinion that the proposed use will be a harmonious use in its location. And furthermore, to determine whether or not a use can impact the adjoining property value, we do what's called a matched pair or a paired sales analysis. It's a methodology supported by the Appraisal Institute and outlined in detail in the Appraisal Institute textbook, Real Estate Damages, which is written by Dr. Randall Bell. In short, this involves comparing a sale that's occurred of a home adjacent to a school and comparing that home to similar nearby homes that have sold that do not adjoin a school in order to determine if there was any impact due to being adjacent to the school. We have several examples within this impact study that support no impact to the adjoining property values for being adjacent to a school use. And so based on this data, it's my professional opinion that the proposed school use will not impact the adjoining property values. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. And also, I believe the impact study has been submitted as an exhibit as part of what you have received. So.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, at this time, I'm gonna ask my fellow board members, do they have any questions? Diane, Nina, or Sally, any questions?
No, I do not have any questions.
Okay, well, I do have a couple questions. I think you're referring to Exhibit E.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that's Kirkland Appraisal's expert report on property value impacts from the proposed school. Yes, sir.
Okay, so on page 3, I see you talk about the railroad and power lines. Are we good to go on that? The EPA don't have anything to say about anything on that?
I am not the right person to answer that question.
Okay.
Yeah, that would not have an impact on we're only looking at the impact that the school has on property values because that's what's the issue in the town of Stanley zoning ordinance. Other things like power easements, so on and so forth, those affect dozens, if not hundreds of properties in the town of Stanley. And so that'd be a separate issue from the school that we're considering tonight.
Okay. All right. And I do have one other question. So this right here, like I said, is K through 8. Will they have any anything like a baseball field or anything like that on the property?
Yes, sir. There was a soccer field shown on the site plan that we shared with the board just a minute ago when Mr. Overcash was testifying.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Lyle.
Okay. All right. All right. I couldn't see that on the map that was on the
small print. I
caught myself trying to have my little glasses on. Okay. Well, that's all the questions I had.
Right.
So you can go ahead with your next witness, Mr. Barker.
Okay. If there are no further questions for Mr. Kirkland, I'll turn it over to the chairman of Community Public Charter School, Mr. McGinnis. Mr. McGinnis, the floor is yours, sir.
All right. Thank you. And we appreciate this opportunity from the Board of Adjustment. My name is Eddie McGinnis. I live at 302 General A.S. Johnston Street here in Stanley. I'm a lifelong citizen of Stanley. I was born up on South Main Street, lived there for 10 years till we moved down here into the Jackson Park area. I graduated the last year of Stanley High School in 1972. I spent 30 years in the school business with Gaston County Schools. I taught 13 years at Stanley Junior High and then spent 17 years in administration, finishing up my last 6 years as principal at East Gaston High School and retired in 2006. I also pastor the Community Pentecostal Center here in Stanley. I've been the senior pastor for the last 22 years here. My role with Community Public Charter School is I am the founder and the chairman of the board. I will say that having retired from the school system, you kind of wonder why would you get back into, the public education. But it's a love of mine. And I also had seen, some of the direction that some of the school curriculum and other things were heading. And Community Public Charter School is founded upon American values. And we feel strongly that the things that we grew up with are positive values. And we want to instill those positive values upon the students that come through the doors of Community Public Charter School. Specifically on the site there on Mariposa Road, we had tried, several different sites in the area of the town of Stanley. We had gone on the other side of Mariposa Road when we had worked with Ken Olson, who was the developer of that townhome site. He had offered us the opportunity to purchase 50 acres on that side of the road, but the town of Stanley, thought a little different way with that. So we moved down further down on Highway 27, some land across from Pennsylvania Steel, but there was a deed restriction upon that, so we had to move to another opportunity. I talked with some of the folks there at the Methodist Church, where there's 93 acres there. They were interested, but the Methodist Church itself is in a somewhat of a controversial national issue as far as the denomination itself. And the church was hesitant on selling the 30 acres that we needed right now because there was just no resolution to which way that vote was going to go. There on Mooney Road, where we're currently located, we've just outgrown that property. We did approach the Smiths who across on the other side of Mooney Road, but that's family property and they weren't really interested in selling. As far as the school being in harmony with the area there, I would ask if you have any questions about that you would kind of consult the people who currently live in that Mooney Road area, how we have worked with them. Bud Pate being one of them, one of the council members, could ask because, I personally have made visits to homes in that area to be sure that we did not hinder or become, something that would be deemed negative to the folks in that area. Hopefully you've been able to ride by during times of dismissal and arrival. I can tell you we have worked extremely hard to be sure that traffic did not back up on Mooney Road. I also, agree with Ms. McDowell that when you have areas there with traffic being backed up on main roads, it's very dangerous. And they're at Springfield and also having been principal at East Gaston. If you've had any students down there, you know that there are cars that park on Lane Road. They're in front of East Gaston. And there are times when cars will go past to continue on that. And the last thing I want to do is be on the front page of the Gaston Gazette because either a child or a pedestrian or an automobile has been involved in a traffic accident because of poor planning by the school. We work extremely hard to be sure that that traffic is not backed up. So that's an excellent point to be looking at. And lastly, our mission is to be a good neighbor. Having grown up in this area, and they'll bury me in this area. I see these people in the grocery store. I see them at the gas station. I see them at the post office. I've spent 30 years, supporting this community through education. I spent my entire 67 years coaching and investing in the lives of children. My best day is when I can come out of my office there at the church and hear children laughing, playing with a smile on their face, a hug from a teacher, being loved. Sometimes I have to excuse my emotion.
That's all right.
Sometimes I've got a granddaughter right now that's struggling with things like self-esteem, and just to have somebody put an arm around them is so important. So I apologize for the emotional part of it, but we want to be a blessing to this community. So we appreciate you taking the time to hear this testimony. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McGinnis. And I can definitely tell that you're passionate about this project, and we need to have more people in the community passionate like that. Yes. Thank you. Do any of the board members have any question for Mr. McGinnis?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It's kind of trivial after your speech, but I do notice that in the traffic pattern,
Yes.
There would be you could go from Mariposa over to the main road on the main street 27 and not have to go through the stoplight. And I can see people using that little cut through to get, around the stoplight.
Yeah.
Question is, are you going to put gates maybe at these different locations, or have you thought about it, or would it be a problem?
Well, we do have an administrative team that is, highly effective, in being sure that the safety of the kids is number one. And, when I was at East Gaston, I always told parents that you'll judge us, by how well we get kids into the school safely. And their number one goal is that they pick them up in the same condition. So we will be sure that this traffic pattern is safe for all kids. We will get more input from the Department of Transportation to be sure that all those things are complied with. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And the Sheriff's Department, works with us with a resource officer, and he's out there every morning, every afternoon too, to be sure that if you come down Mooney Road, you'll see the lights flashing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I would just add, when we counted the traffic signal there at Mariposa and 27, we didn't see a lot of people that like that go that way. There's there's some people that come down and take a left and take a right, but it's a pretty light volume. The majority of folks they go north and head up Mariposa that way. They kind of are going this side. Not a lot of folks come down this way and do that. They've probably taken a another path, probably Airport Road, to cut over. So that was just one thing we noticed in the traffic counts.
Okay. So based on that right there, that was Mr. Overcash, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
for the record, that was our traffic engineer, Lyle Overcash.
Sorry about
Okay.
that.
Well, Mr. McGinnis, you might be able to help me with this one.
Okay.
How many students is going to be at the school?
Well, currently we have 475. Next year we'll have 600. There at the new site, it will be built, to house 900, which is 100 per grade level, kindergarten through 8th grade.
Okay. And they're going to be brought to school on a bus, and also parents can drop off, correct?
Yes, we have cluster stops with the buses. And 50% of our students come from outside the town of Stanley, either Dallas, Mount Holly, Lincoln, and area. So, we draw, again, half of our students from outside the Stanley area.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Do any other board members have any additional questions? Okay, not hearing anything. Mr. Barker, do you have any other witnesses?
No, if I could just give a very brief concluding statement. I realize it's past 7:30 and most of us probably haven't had supper yet, so I will give a very swift conclusion. And again, our team is happy to answer any more questions, but we again appreciate your time tonight. For the record, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm Patrick
Patrick,
Biker.
let me just interrupt 1 second.
Yes, Mr. Russell.
Yeah, I don't think at the beginning we checked to see with Olga whether anybody else was signed up or any witnesses. So before you get into your concluding statement, let me just ask the chairman to make sure there's nobody else on this call that wants to speak or testify.
Okay. Olga, did anybody else sign up to speak?
No, Chairman, we do not have anyone sign up.
And there's no one on the on any social media that has anything to say?
No,
Not hearing
they were supposed to sign up ahead of a time if they wanted to speak. So, and we do not have anyone who reached out to us.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Olga. Okay, Mr. Biker.
Okay, very, very briefly, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Again, Patrick Biker, attorney for the applicant. Again, for the record, our evidence for this proceeding includes the resumes of our expert witnesses and the real estate impact analysis by Kirkland and appraisals. Again, it was our burden as the applicant to submit competent material and substantial evidence on the record showing that this proposal meets all the requirements of the town of Stanley's zoning ordinance. We respectfully submit that our team of expert witnesses and Chairman McGinnis have met that burden. We respectfully ask for your approval to issue the special use permit so that we can proceed with constructing the new home for Community Public Charter School in the town of Stanley. Again, our team is happy to answer any questions. We very much appreciate your time tonight and respectfully ask for your approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Biker. Mr. Russell, is this time, do we need to open this up to a public hearing?
So what I'm going to do, the last thing we're going to do is read the standards or the findings that you have to make so that the board can ask questions about those legal findings and that the applicant can respond if there are questions about that. These are in our zoning ordinance under section 6-3. So if you wanted, the zoning ordinance is in your agenda packet. So if you wanted to look at that, you can. But otherwise, I'm going to read these out to you. These are the findings that have to be found to exist by the board by a vote of 3-1 or higher. First, that the use or development is located, designed, and proposed to be operated so as to maintain or promote the public health, safety, and general welfare. Second, the use or development complies with all conditions and specifications of the ordinance. Third, the use or development will not substantially injure the value of adjoining or abutting property. And fourth, that the location and character of the use, if developed according to the plan submitted, will be in harmony with the area in which it is located and in general conformity with the plan of development for Stanley and its environs. So if there are questions about that from the board, I'm happy to try to answer them, and we also want to allow the applicant the opportunity, if there are legal questions, to address those as well. If there aren't questions, Mr. Chairman, then you can take a motion to close the public hearing and proceed to discussion.
Do we have any questions from the board members? Hearing nothing. Mr. Biker, you have anything?
No, Mr. Chairman, just again, members of the board, thank you for being so gracious with your time this evening. And we, again, just respectfully ask for your approval based on the evidence presented. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, at this time, we're gonna take a roll call. We're gonna vote on it. Diane,
I approve.
Nina,
I approve.
Sally,
I think
Sally?
Sally on mute.
Okay,
Yeah, I approve.
okay, and I approve also.
Okay, Ronald, so we're out of public hearing right now, and so you can check and see if there's any discussion among the board members. If not, we will run through the findings that need to be voted on, and then you can take an appropriate motion based on those findings.
Okay. Do I have any other anything else from the board members?
No.
To discuss?
All right, so Ronald, you're welcome to read these out, or if you want me to, I'm happy to do it, whatever is easier for you.
I would like for you to do it, Mr. Russell, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so the first finding that needs to be met, the use or development is located, designed, and proposed to be operated so as to maintain or promote the public health, safety, and general welfare.
Okay. For motion number one, Diane,
I approve.
Nina,
I approve.
Sally,
I agree.
and I agree also.
Okay, 4-0. Number two, second finding, applicant needs to meet the use or development complies with all conditions and specifications of the zoning ordinance.
Okay. Motion number two, Diane, how you vote?
I approve.
Nina,
I agree.
Sally,
I agree.
and I agree as well.
All right, third finding, the applicant needs to prove the use or development will not substantially injure the value of adjoining or abutting property.
Okay. Motion number three, Diane, how you vote?
I agree with it.
Okay. Nina
I agree.
and Sally.
I agree.
I agree also.
Number four, last finding, the location and character of the use, if developed according to the plan submitted, and will be in harmony with the area in which it is to be located and in general conformity with the plan of development for Stanley and its environs.
On motion number four, Diane, how you vote?
I agree.
Okay. Nina,
I agree.
Sally,
I agree.
and I agree as well.
All right, Ronald, so having passed all four findings of fact by votes of 4-0, you can now call for a motion to approve the special use permit, approve it with conditions, or deny the special use permit.
Do I have a motion to approve this special use permit? for the community public charter school.
I make a motion.
Okay, that made a motion. That was Sally. I believe I heard first.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Diane can do it.
All right. Okay.
It's
So you seconded. Okay.
Yep,
Thank
I'll do it. I second it.
Okay. So we're gonna take it to a vote at this time. So Diane,
I approve.
Nina,
I approve.
Sally,
I approve.
and I approve as well.
Okay, Ronald, so you have the option of closing out the hearing. This is done. You're at section 13. If you want to finish out the script, you are welcome to do that.
Oh, I'm 13.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm
Or if
lost.
you want, again, same with Philip. I'd be happy to do that if you don't have that in front of you.
Oh, the staff will draft. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead there.
So we
John,
just,
come on.
the way we close it is just letting the applicant know that the staff will draft a final order indicating that the special use permit is approved and that they can then proceed with the development of the project. And just as we always do, we appreciate their time and their effort and their investment in the community. And in this case, the service that they'll provide for the children of Stanley and surrounding areas.
Absolutely. Mr. Barker, I definitely would like to thank you for representing everyone. And thanks to all the witnesses that came out and the good testimony. I did look over all their background and it was quite outstanding. So I definitely appreciate that. And I definitely appreciate Mr. McGinnis. And like I said, his passion for the school and the future leaders of America.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate it. So
Absolutely.
I like to
Thank you,
thank
everyone.
you're welcome. I'd like to thank the board members for coming out and voicing their opinion and everything, and everybody with the town of Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and especially want to thank the town attorney, the town manager, and the town clerk for providing us excellent customer service. We couldn't be happier with all the help we've gotten from the town of Stanley, and we really appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing the school open, and hope you'll all be there when that happens.
Yes, sir. I know I would definitely be there. So at this time, do I have a motion to close this hearing?
I make a motion that we close the hearing.
Okay, I made a motion by Miss Nina McDowell. Do I hear a second? Anyone want a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. So once again, appreciate everybody attendance. Everyone have a good night.
Yeah,
Good
well,
night.
we just need, I guess we're gonna take that as a motion to adjourn the meeting. I guess you already signed, or you're still there. So we're
Yes, sir, I'm
close the
here.
hearing. We're gonna take that as a motion to adjourn and we're done.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, Ronald.
Good night,
Appreciate
everybody.
your help. Everybody.
Good
Thanks,
night.
Patrick. Good to see you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, John. Thanks for everything.